Welcome to the show. I'm Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks, and we start tonight with the battle in Wisconsin. Now, let me tell you why this is so important. Look, this isn't just about the workers in Wisconsin anymore. It's not just about that state anymore. It's not about just spending cuts in Wisconsin. It's not about the public unions. It's about all of us now. It's about the average guy. It's about the working class. And it's about the fight and the war on the middle class that the Republicans want to start. Because you think they're going to just stop at public unions? Now look all over the place. They're not. We're going to show you that in a second. They're going to the private unions next. Look, they're coming after you, and I have a bold proposal tonight that we fight back. And I think Wisconsin's the perfect place to do it. Now let me show you what's happening right now so you see the urgency of the problem. Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin is turning up the pressure on 14 Democratic state senators who, of course, remain out of the state. Now, how's he doing that? He's threatened to start firing not all, but a lot of the state employees starting next week if the lawmakers don't return to Wisconsin and allow a vote on the bill. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Remember, the unions, they already agreed to the pay cuts. So this doesn't have anything to do with the budget. He's going after the workers. Why? Because it's gratuitous political punishment. If you don't do as I tell you, I'm going to start firing people. What happened? I thought these guys were supposed to create jobs. Now they're destroying jobs. Is that what you voted for in Wisconsin? Is that what you voted for throughout the country? Well, thank God, at least so far, the Democrats in Wisconsin aren't going to give in to his threats. They're saying, you know what, we're going to stay out of town and we're not going to have it. But guess what? While that's going on, the crackdown on unions have spread all over. They're way beyond Wisconsin now. Governor John Kasich in Ohio is supporting a bill that, very similar to the one in Wisconsin, would restrict public employees' collective bargaining rights. Here they come. Indiana's Governor Mitch Daniels took away public worker collective bargaining rights on his first day in office back in 2005. Now, the Republicans in his state want to crack down on private workers' rights. You see, that's what this fight's all about. It's not just about public unions. They're coming after all the unions because the unions give the average worker a chance against the big corporations. And the Republicans hate that. They don't want that. This is their war against the middle class. If you take out the unions, well, then you've got no way to bargain. How are you, the average Joe or Bob or Sue or Sally, going to stand up to the corporations? You're not going to be able to. And they love it. That way they get to cut. They get to cut your pensions. They cut your pay. And then what happens? You got nobody to back you up. That's what this fight is about. That's why Wisconsin is so important. Now, thank God the protests are spreading as well. Today in Ohio, thousands of protesters showed up in Columbus. Some were inside the building. Then they got locked in. There's drama everywhere. In Indiana, 4,000 protesters packed into the State House. And Democratic legislators are following the example of their Wisconsin counterparts, and they're heading out of town in order to prevent a vote on that legislation. Now, back in Wisconsin, Governor Walker, he's made it clear that a compromise, of course, are you ready for this, is not an option. He's even rejected a deal by a moderate Republican state senator. Because why? There's always no compromise from the Republicans, whether it's on the state level or it's on the federal level. Never any compromise. Look, he's getting his cue from party leadership. Watch this.
I am not going to compromise on my principles, nor am I going to compromise the will of the American people.
You're saying I want common ground, but I'm not going to compromise. I don't understand that. I really don't.
When you say the word compromise, a lot of Americans look up and go, oh, they're going to sell me out. And so finding common ground, I think, makes more sense.
You're afraid of the word.
I reject the word.
They even reject the word compromise. They always say no to compromise. And then Democrats turn around and brag about how they always compromise. I have this crazy new idea. How about two can play at that game? How about we don't compromise either? How about in Wisconsin, those legislators that are holding out and say, hey, you know what? The unions had already agreed to the pay cuts. Guess what? We're not budging, and we're going to go back and say we don't agree to the pay cuts. Now, you want to negotiate? Oh, you think you've got all the cards, and all you ever do is take, and all the Democrats ever do is give. Well, how about we stand our ground and say not anymore? God, Wisconsin is the perfect place to do it. If you don't stop them there, they're going to go all over. I just showed you Ohio. And then you think Chris Christie's going to stop in New Jersey? They're in Indiana. They're doing it everywhere. You think Rick Scott's not going to do it in Florida? Now's the time. And you know what? Governor Walker's already in trouble. Look at a poll commissioned by the AFL-CIO. Now, I know, of course, they're on the side of labor, but this is backed by other polls as well. The governor's approval rating is at 41%, with 51% disapproving. It's not working. The people in Wisconsin don't want this. 52% disapprove of Walker's agenda in general. You got him on the ropes. Don't let him off. And 74% think that state workers should get to keep collective bargaining rights if they agree to pay more for health care and retirement, which I told you they already have. You've got 74% of the people on your side. If you don't fight now, when are you going to fight? As I told you in the beginning, it isn't just about Wisconsin. They want to attack the middle class. They want to blame you for the deficits. Did you cause the deficits? Bob or Sue or whoever you are out there, did you cause the deficit? You didn't cause it. You know who caused it? The big banks. They crushed our economy. They caused 10% unemployment, 8 million people laid off. You know what else that did? It reduced the revenue base, whether it was the federal budget or the state budget. They just don't have as much revenue coming in because not enough people are working. They're out of a job. Now, who caused that? Was it you? No, it was the banks. Now they're back to making record bonuses, and they want you to pay for their mistakes. That's what this fight's about. Don't let them do it. We have to fight in Wisconsin. Now, if you weren't sold already, one more reason to fight. Look, here are the top 10 donors in the 2010 election. 7 of them are right-wing organizations. The other 3 are unions. Now, if we let the GOP knock out those 3, it's game over. Checkmate. Corporate America wins. They got their politicians. They bought them like Walker. We told you all about that last night, $43,000 from the Koch brothers. Koch brothers are now shipping people into the state, and they're camping out over there and pretending it's a grassroots movement. You know what? We got grassroots movement. We got real people, and people have already stood up in Wisconsin. They didn't wait for leaders. They didn't wait for Obama. They didn't wait for the National Democrats. I say we go to Wisconsin. People from around the country, man, you got to support the people who are actually protesting on your behalf, because I told you, this isn't just about that state. It's about how they're going to attack every average American. They're going to keep blaming you. They're going to attack your Social Security next. They've already attacked so many of your pensions. You lost it in the first round of the economic collapse, and you're going to lose it in the second round, too. Now, if they knock out your last line of defense, unfortunately, we're going to get to a point where they're going to finish the American middle class. Don't let them do it. Wisconsin's the perfect place to fight.